everyone, and welcome back to Lifting Through It with Jess. I am super excited to be recording today. I did have to take some time off due to my full-time job just getting pretty busy, but I'm really excited to be recording an episode today. And if my mic volume when I'm talking starts to fluctuate, I apologize to anyone who's actually listening to this because I really don't know how to fix it. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about something that I don't think gets enough attention, especially in the fitness community. And that topic is what consistency actually looks like when you live with chronic pain or chronic injuries. I think the topic of motivation versus dedication is pretty big in the fitness community, especially with, fitness influencers. On social media, we'll constantly see videos that say you got to have dedication, not motivation, because motivation comes and goes. But what consistency actually looks like when you live with chronic pain or chronic injuries is kind of different, because when your body hurts every day, quote unquote, motivation isn't even in the conversation. What matters purely is discipline, adjusting, listening, and showing up in a way that's realistic and honest. So let's get into it. But before I start, this episode is based on my personal experience living with chronic pain, training with injuries. And I am not a doctor, and this podcast is not medical advice. Please always check with a healthcare professional about your own body and limitations. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to start with this. Chronic pain is not I hurt today. Chronic pain is I hurt every day, and I've learned how to live around it. I want to keep emphasizing that on this podcast because it is a constant conversation I've had to have with people, even loved ones, that it's not, oh, I trained too hard. It is a constant thing. It's waking up stiff. It's having to think before you move. It's doing laundry while your ribs or back are screaming. It's going to work even though your joints feel like they're grinding. And the messed up part is people don't see it. You look normal, you act normal, but your body is fighting you the entire time. And that's the part that makes fitness look completely different for people like us. When you have been hurt or you have something like EDS or chronic joint issues, you don't walk in the gym the same way anymore. And I think that is something that I can really, really relate to, because when I first started lifting, I definitely had some issues, but I wasn't super physically active before that, so I didn't have a lot of experience with injuries. And I remember I was just walking on the basketball court thinking I was doing this great cardio thing and everything was fine, and I was just walking, rolled my ankle, and I sprained it, where I think I was wearing a boot for 3 months before I had to go to basic training. So that was awful within itself. But I thought it was so odd that I just rolled my ankle from walking and got that hurt. After that, I started herniating discs, shoulder pressing. I was putting a 45-pound weight up on the Smith machine, and it wasn't locked all the way. And it just completely fell down, but I didn't let go of it. So I tore the ligament in my wrist and I had to wear a brace for a couple months. It was a pattern for me. And so now when I walk into the gym, it's definitely not the same way I used to. I mean, I have to be strategic about what I'm doing and taking my safety as a top priority. You're not trying to hit your max. I used to really, really hyper focus on PRing on so many things because that is what measures my strength. That's what I thought at the time. And especially with deadlifting, I don't deadlift anymore. I think the last time that I deadlifted was probably almost 2 years ago. I just don't think it's worth the risk, and I can measure my strength in other ways. you're not trying to impress anyone. Personally, I still try to impress myself, but I don't want to sit there and try to lift so heavy to impress people around me and end up crying walking out of the gym because I caused another major injury. And you're not trying to destroy yourself because it's beast mode. I think that is a huge, huge mistake. I think even people who don't have injuries, but just people who are just starting in the gym, that they make. And it's something I wish I knew, that, it's not the goal to be on beast mode and end up hurting yourself and destroying your body to where you can't be the same way that you were before. You can't function the same way that you did before. You train with intention, you train with awareness, you train to avoid the thing that changed your life the first time. I used to do whatever I wanted. Those heavy deadlifts, overhead press, long runs. I didn't think twice. Now I have to think about everything because I've herniated those discs. I've injured my hip, my wrist, my ankle. I know what it feels like to be scared of my own body, and I'm not going back there. I think, I went to the gym with one of my friends, and we did the overhead shoulder press on the machine, and I started to feel a slight pinch in my back. And it's not that I wasn't strong enough to push the weight, but I could feel that feeling coming back, so I stopped. And I decided to do another type of exercise for my shoulders because to me it's not worth putting myself back in the hospital because I can't move my neck and I can't feel down my arm. And there are a lot of people that like to yell about the difference between motivation and, dedication and consistency. Find your why, stay motivated, wake up earlier. Okay, sure. But when you live with chronic pain, motivation doesn't do anything for you. Motivation disappears the second your body hurts. Motivation disappears when you slept wrong and your whole spine is locked up. Motivation disappears when your joints feel unstable or swollen. So what do we rely on? Discipline. Discipline is the part of you that says, okay, maybe today hurts, but I can still do something. Discipline is switching from running to walking. Discipline is lowering the weight instead of skipping the gym. Discipline is doing mobility instead of heavy weight. Discipline is stretching when that's all your body can handle. People think consistency means doing the same routine every day. But when you're in chronic pain, consistency means adapting without quitting. Rest is the workout. The point is I don't disappear. I adjust, I pivot, I listen without letting pain control my entire life. And that's something people without chronic pain will never fully understand. Our progress isn't linear. Our energy isn't predictable. Our body isn't the same every day. People think fitness is about pushing yourself to the limit, but honestly, some of the strongest people in the gym are the ones who know their limits and know how to work around them. Showing up even when you're uncomfortable, showing up when you know it might hurt, showing up without guarantee. That's discipline. And if you're listening to this and you live with chronic pain, I want you to hear this very clearly. You're not weak, you're not lazy, you're not inconsistent. You're navigating a body that asks more from you than most people will experience. I personally like to take those days that rest is my movement and go for a walk, stretch, yoga, anything that is going to do a reset for my body. And I think that when you have chronic pain, take that win. That is your dedication because you're still taking care of you in the right way. Your consistency isn't going to look like everyone else's, and that's totally okay. Modify your workouts. Do what feels safe. Do what your body allows. A little progress is still progress, and discipline will always outlast that motivation. You're doing better than you think. Thank you guys so much for listening. If this episode resonated with you, or if you live with chronic pain and you're trying to stay active, I see you. You're strong in ways people don't understand. Make sure you follow the podcast so you don't miss the next episode, and feel free to share this with someone who needs to hear it. I'll talk to you guys next time.